Good evening, Vikings. Thank you for joining us for today's virtual town hall for our students and their families. I want to start by thanking you for your resilience and courage as you continue to pursue your dreams and make your education a priority during these challenging times. The safety and well-being of our campus community remains our top priority. Throughout the pandemic, we have been intentional in our deliberations and decisions regarding our response to this world health crisis. We have implemented protocols per the guidelines of the Centers for Disease Control, local and state health officials, and the UNC System Office. As a result of our collective efforts, we were able to keep our students on campus the entire fall and spring semester, which culminated with a highly celebrated in-person commencement ceremony in May. I also want to thank the family members who have supported all of our students during these challenging times. And for our new students, I'm sure your family will be there to support you as well. For those of you who returned to campus in the fall and spring, you saw many of the changes we made to our campus to address the health and safety of all of our students, faculty, and staff. For now, Governor Cooper has lifted restrictions and the state is open for business. It's time for the university to resume operations at a level that will allow us to meet the demands of our constituents. In my communique to employees dated April 21st, 2021, I announced our goal to bring all ECSU students, faculty, and staff back to campus for the fall 2021 semester. We want students, faculty, and staff fully integrated into campus life so that effective teaching and learning can return to our classrooms. We also want students engaging in a full residential life experience as best and as most possible as we can, taking part in co-curricular activities that allows you to learn and build community. As you return to campus, Know that we are committed to providing you with the level of service and support you need. Your success is our goal. Let's be clear, we are still in a pandemic, so don't forget that. As we continue to follow safety protocols established by the CDC, local and state health officials, we must take personal responsibility to do the right thing. So you may ask, what does that mean? Personal responsibility. If you know that you have not been vaccinated, then it's your responsibility to wear your mask, especially in large groups or when you are in close proximity to others. If you have been vaccinated, then it's your option to determine whether or not you feel safe in an environment without your mask. So as far as our university community, we will expect and require that masks are worn in the classrooms at all times. Again, everybody, whether you're vaccinated or not, should still wear your mask in the classroom. And the provost will elaborate further on this decision. In non-classroom spaces, so when you're out in activities and other things that are happening across campus, and you have been vaccinated, then it's okay for you not to wear your mask. That's the decision that you make. So it's two different options here as far as what our requirements will be. And I don't want to confuse you. I want to make this clear. Everyone will wear their mask in the classroom. Outside of the classroom, it's your personal responsibility to decide if you feel safe not wearing a mask if you're vaccinated, but wearing a mask if you're not vaccinated based on the proximity and the environment in which you are engaging. So we do encourage everyone, all of our students, to continue to be safe as you move about and interact with others on campus, keeping in mind your personal responsibility. You will also notice that we have placed automatic self-check temperature stations in areas across campus that you can walk up to and take your temperature. Remember to hold yourself accountable for making the right decision. At the end of the day, we know what the CDC has reported. We know that we are still in a pandemic, and you know whether or not you have been vaccinated to make the right decision for you. We will monitor the environment and make adjustments as necessary throughout the semester. If we see that there is a jump in the number of COVID cases on our campus, we will pivot, as we had to do before, to online instruction. I'm hoping that we will not have to do that because our students made such a significant effort in minimizing the spread of COVID in fall 20 and spring 21. I want to see that again on our campus as we enter in fall 21. But it's going to be up to all of you to build a culture of expectation, as we did before, holding each and every student, faculty, staff, all of us as a community, holding each other accountable for making the right decision to minimize any spread of the COVID disease. Students, faculty, and staff will be expected to adhere to all health and safety guidelines outlined by the university, the CDC, and local and state health officials to ensure that our return to campus is done in a safe manner. Getting the COVID-19 vaccine is still our best shot at ending this pandemic. For the past months, ECSU has sponsored a vaccination clinic at KE White Graduate Center for our employees, students, and members of the community. If you want the shot, get it here on campus. And I tell you, it's a safe place. And you may ask, how do I know that? Well, that's where I received my vaccination on campus at the KE White Center, and everything was fine. So I tell you, that option is still there. We may be adjusting the hours, but if you can get vaccinated, even in your hometown, wherever you're coming from, go ahead and do that before you come to campus. And then if you are not able to, we may adjust the hours for our clinic, but we may have it open for the first few weeks when students come back. So please know and keep that in mind, and really take seriously the importance of the vaccination and the importance of building a culture of expectation so that we are minimizing the spread. Take personal responsibility and take the necessary steps, because not only does this affect you and our campus community, but you can also impact or affect your parents, your families as you go back home during breaks. All those things does matter. I mean, it does matter for you to make that personal decision. Also, it could affect your classmates and faculty and staff on campus. So please take this seriously. This evening's town hall event is to provide information on returning to campus safely and critical tasks you will need to complete prior to the fall semester, along with their deadlines and how to take personal responsibility to stay safe and healthy. I have invited four now, of my main campus members to provide this important information to you tonight. Provost Farrah Ward will speak, and following her, we'll have Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Gary Brown, Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance, Lisa McClinton, and COO and General Counsel Alan Goodson has joined us as well to talk about a few things. So he will provide some insight, and we will all be available to answer your questions. So some of you submitted questions in advance of today's town hall, and the panelists will answer them during their comments. However, if you have additional questions based on what you hear tonight, please submit your questions to CAM, that's CAM, at ECSU.edu. And we will try to answer as many questions as we can during this town hall this evening. Again, send your questions to CAM, CAM, at ECSU.edu. I will now turn the presentation over to Provost Farrah Ward. Provost Ward.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. A few updates regarding the fall 2021 semester. At this time, we are still scheduled to begin the semester on Tuesday, August 17th. Unlike last fall, we will in fact observe Labor Day on Monday, September 6th, as well as fall break will be observed on Monday, October 11th, and Tuesday, October the 12th. We have learned many lessons from the 2021 academic year and will continue to be diligent during the upcoming semester. While we will not be following the limited classroom capacities utilized last year, as the Chancellor indicated, we will require all students to wear masks inside classrooms and laboratories, regardless of their vaccination status. Faculty who will be able to safely socially distance inside the classroom will be permitted to remove their mask while they're teaching, and then will be required to put their mask on at the end of class. In terms of courses for the fall 2020 semester, about 20% of our courses will be offered online. 80% of the courses will be offered face-to-face. But even of the 80% of courses offered face-to-face, they will be delivered using two different formats. Some will be exclusively face-to-face. Some will be using an A-B schedule where maybe half the class comes one day and another half comes another day. Or we will be using hybrid courses where possibly a class will be Monday and Friday in person and maybe Wednesday online. All of the information on exactly how courses will be delivered will be included on the syllabus. In terms of students who have documented illness or need for accommodations, they may request accommodations by contacting Felicia Brown, the Director of Student Accessibility Services, at 252-335-3642. They will need to submit a request form and provide appropriate documentation in order to receive any accommodation. Students who do receive accommodation will not necessarily have their courses converted to online courses, but will be provided appropriate accommodations so that they may receive their course materials remotely. Any students who has any additional questions or concern may always email Viking Success at ECSU.edu. Again, Viking Success at ECSU.edu. Limited student travel will be allowed for the 2021-2022 academic year. Study abroad student travel will not be allowed for fall 2021, but will be considered for individuals who would like to study abroad beginning in spring 2022. Academic Affairs is currently in the process of creating forms for students who are requesting domestic travel for fall 2021 or international study abroad travel beginning in spring 2022. Thank you so much, Chancellor. That's all I have. I'll turn it over to Vice Chancellor Dr. Gary Brown.
Good evening to all of you. As you heard from the Chancellor's comments earlier, we had a very successful school year during last school year, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Having conducted in student health services over 4,000 COVID-19 tests and having a very low 2.2% positivity rate on our campus. And we recognize that this could only occur because of committed students and families who supported and followed the guidelines that we outlined on last school year. And as we discuss the guidelines going forward, I hope that you all do that in terms of understanding and committing to ensuring our positive success for the coming year. As we have recognized that the health experts across our nation have reported a significant drop in COVID-19 hospitalizations, the drop is in large part because of the number of people within our communities who have received the COVID-19 vaccine. And as an institution and a constituent institution of the University of North Carolina system, we cannot require students to take the vaccine, but we are strongly encouraging each student to do so and to provide documentation of your vaccination to student health services prior to your arrival on campus. Your doing so will ensure that your student experience is as close to normal as is possible in spite of the COVID-19 issue. Well, what does this mean? Because we recognize the health benefits that are attached to taking the vaccine, if you submit your vaccination records to us, you will be able to opt out of reentry testing when you return to campus. You will not have to participate in our surveillance testing program, and you will not be required to quarantine or isolate should you be identified as a result of contact tracing for having been exposed to the virus. Additionally, on July the 2nd, we sent an email to all students notifying them that providing this COVID-19 vaccination documentation to us by July the 30th, that if you did that, that you would be entered into a drawing in which we would be choosing 3 winners who will receive an Apple iPad, 3 winners who will receive a 32-inch Roku smart TV, and 10 winners who will receive Apple AirPods. The winners will be drawn on August the 3rd. So we do hope that you prioritize getting vaccinated and submitting that information to Student Health Services so that it may be placed on your official ECSU health record. As it relates to move-in and housing, we have determined that re-entry testing and/or producing documentation of a negative COVID-19 test received no more than 72 hours prior to your scheduled arrival on campus is required. You will be able to waive the requirement, though, if you have provided to us or provide to us the day of your arrival documentation that you have received the COVID-19 vaccine. If you do not provide the test results or do not provide proof of vaccination, Student Health Services will be required to test you for COVID-19 prior to your being cleared to proceed to your residence hall. Let me reiterate. You must either provide the documentation of a negative COVID-19 test or submit your vaccination documentation before you will be allowed to proceed to your assigned residence hall. Vaccination is strongly encouraged as it will cut down on your wait time and the ability to access the campus with ease on the date of your arrival. The following dates have been set for move-in. If you're a part of the Sound of the Class, if you are part of the Sound of Class marching band, you will move in Wednesday, July the 28th and Monday, August the 2nd, 2021. You will receive additional information on those dates. If you're a part of the ECSU football team, your move-in date is on Wednesday, August the 4th, 2021. Byers Hall and Viking Tower residents will be moving in on Thursday, August the 12th, 2021. If you live in University Suites and University Towers, you'll move in on Friday, August the 13th, 2021. And if you live in Viking Village, you will move in either Saturday, August the 14th or Sunday, August the 15th. Students should be expecting detailed instructions from the Department of Housing and Residence Life when your scheduled return date for move-in will be, based upon the organization you are either a part of and or your assigned residence hall for fall semester. Please continue to check your university email over the break. I need to say this, but if for some reason the pre-screening process is not completed adequately and or your COVID-19 test returns positive, students will not be allowed to move into their residence hall assignment. Instead, you would be required to quarantine away from campus for the recommended time frame of 10 days based on the CDC guidelines. Therefore, if for some reason on the date of your move-in, you are experiencing symptoms consistent with COVID-19, please do not come to campus. Instead, feel free to contact the Dean of Students office at 252-335-2477 or email deanofstudents@ecsu.edu. And you can inform us of your status so that we can communicate to Housing and Residence Life to hold your room assignment and to the Division of Academic Affairs related to holding your schedule and Student Health Services to provide you the health support that you need. Again, if on the date of your move-in you are experiencing symptoms consistent with COVID-19, please do not come to campus. Instead, proceed to your medical provider in order to be tested. Remain home until you garner the test results. In the meantime, if you contact us, we will provide you the necessary support from a distance to ensure that your room assignment and classes are held appropriately and to provide you the support you need. The move-in process is designed to be as safe as possible. It considers limits to the amount of individuals who can be in the residence halls at any given time. It is meant to ensure that the process is as efficient as it can be. As such, we have created the following guidelines for move-in. 1, there will be move-in appointments being assigned to each resident in order to ensure that there's minimal congestion. And 2, we are asking you to be very strategic in what you bring to campus to ensure that you can move in within your allotted move-in timeframe. Each student will be allowed to bring 2 guests for your move-in. Remember, though, that adhering to the guidelines related to your appointment time, being strategic about what you actually bring for move-in will ensure a safe and productive move-in for you and everyone else who has to be involved. For all students, as your room assignment is communicated, your community director is emailing you individually to communicate that. Reminder emails related to your move-in date and time will be sent to all students by July the 15th. And if for some reason by July the 16th, you have not received your appointment date and time, please reach out to the Office of Housing and Residence Life at 252-335-3761, or you can email ECSUhousing@ecsu.edu. Please be reminded that this year, any student choosing to reside on our campus during fall semester will have the cost of your housing application fee waived and receive a housing credit of $1,500. Additionally, every full-time enrolled student will receive $360 book voucher credit, which my colleague VC McClinton will talk to you all about in just a little bit. But I need you all to know that we are already very, very full. We're already at 95% occupancy already for fall semester. So if for some reason you have missed the notifications about applying for housing in order to secure your room, you need to do that very soon. We want to be able to accommodate you, but we only have the spaces that we have. For additional information, please contact housing if you have not done so already. So we're totally not out of the woods related to COVID-19 within the residence halls. We will continue with the plan we used last year to related to increased cleaning within the residence halls, including restrooms for students. Restrooms will be cleaned bi-weekly, and that is outside the norm, because in normal years, everyone is responsible for the cleaning of your own bathroom. Okay, and so we're taking that challenge on so that we might be able to assist you all during this time. After your move-in date, your community director will inform you on what day of every 2 weeks that you can expect your bathroom to be clean. Our visitation policy for the coming school year is as follows: only visitation by residential students. We are going to be prohibiting all others. Only one guest is being allowed per resident, and visiting students will be required to sign into the residence halls prior to providing their residence hall information. The only exception to the visitation rules and guidelines will be made by those made for students with approved disability accommodations. There are generally questions about accommodations related to single rooms. You heard the provost earlier share about accommodations for academic issues, but you can also request accommodations from Ms. Felicia Brown, who's actually the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, but also serves as the ADA 504 coordinator for the university. So please reach out to her if you should need that. As it relates to the PPE, I believe we have kind of discussed that already, but I want to make sure that we're all clear on that. That there may be some programs that we are offering from student engagement or other student affairs or other university offices that might garner increased participation. And there could be some times where we communicate to you an expectation around mask wearing because we want to ensure that everyone is safe in those particular activities. So please be attentive to what it is that we place within Vikings Engage. Right. From a student programming and services perspective, we will continue to offer programs and services through the approaches we've acclimated to as a campus over the last 18 months. There will be some virtual programs that will continue. We will do some hybrid, and there also will be more face-to-face programs this year as well. All of our campus recreation spaces will be open for your use and enjoyment, although we will continue to monitor the health and safety conditions. And we do reserve the right to make changes as we deem necessary to ensure the health and safety of everyone on our campus. You will be excited to see many of the updates that have been made on our campus when you return. And we recognize that all of what has been shared with you tonight has been quite a bit, but it speaks to our intentionality to be responsive to the current issue that exists around us and a desire to keep each member of our community safe. For questions about student health related matters, please feel free to reach out to Student Health directly at 252-335-3267 or housing 335-3761, or for all other questions related to anything that has been shared from the Division of Student Affairs tonight, feel free to reach out to the Vice Chancellor's office at 252-335-3276. We can't wait to see you in August.
Good evening, Vikings, future Vikings. I just wanted to touch base on the billing because I know we have had questions about on Vikings Engage about the billing. We actually have not released the bills yet. We are hoping to release the bills by Friday with a new updated due date on August 6th. And as we said in our announcement that we delayed, we wanted to make sure those credits was applied to your bills. And students can actually go out there on the self-service and see the student charges, but the bill is just not there yet. So we have actually applied the $1,500 that VC Brown has said it. This $1,500 is only for on-campus students. We have applied the $360 for book rental for full-time students only. So if you are a part-time student, you actually have to still opt in to book rental. And as soon as you opt in, we will apply the credit or payment to your account for you to get free books. As we said, that free book rental is for the entire academic year, and we have applied the $360 to your account. But this does not include part-time students because you actually have to opt in, because we have started getting questions about part-time students and I don't see the credit. Well, actually you have to get the charge first. And once you do that charge again, it will be put on your account right after the charge is put on. As far as also VC Brown has mentioned, some students was like, well, I got $150 credit on my account. Well, that $150 is if you paid for your housing deposit earlier in the spring before we waived it for all students, we gave you that money back. So you should actually see if you was one of those students impacted, we had a $1,500 credit for housing, a $360 for book rental, and then also the $150 for housing application refund fee. So you will see that on your bill, and we will have bills out by Friday with a due date of August 6th. So if you need anything, please reach out to the Office of Student Accounts and Cashier. You can pay your bill free of charge online in your self-service portal under TouchNet. But if you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to Office of Student Accounts at, I think that's 252-335-3563.
Thank you so much, VC McClinton. Thank you, Provost. Thank you, Vice Chancellor Brown, for such informative information for our students and their families to think about and prepare for as they re-enter campus in the fall. So I want to shift a bit to introducing our COO, Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel, Alan Goodson, to talk about campus safety and security. So I'll turn it over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Chancellor. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said, campus safety is paramount for our institution, and it certainly is for our campus police department. I do want to give you a little bit of background about who we are. I think what we've seen in the city has posed a lot of questions for a lot of different people. And, we've done our best to communicate out, but I think this is a good time to tell you who we are, what we do, and what our approach is to policing. I can share with you that we're a police department that's made up of officers and security guards. We are state officers, so we do not report to the city. We do not report to the county. We have our own jurisdiction that we control, and it is a state jurisdiction. If any other agency wants to come to our jurisdiction and perform any duties, they can only do so with permission. So I thought that was an important context, especially in light of sort of what we've seen with respect to the city and county and what has happened out in the city. Our training is a little bit different than what you will normally see with respect to city and county police officers. We're really focused on community policing, which is a very different approach. I think what we have probably seen is, county and city police officers are more heavily on the enforcement side, while we are more on the de-escalation, communication, and community service and community approach to policing, which is more interactive. Which is a more interactive approach. That's what we have pride ourselves on. That's a real difference between policing on a college campus and policing out in the city and in the county. So that's the approach that we have here on our campus. I know that there were some questions around what is the safety of our campus in light of what happened in the city. Were there any impacts to our campus? What I can share with you is that there were no direct threats to our campus. We've been able to maintain the security and safety of our campus. We work with our partners to be able to do that. And what we were able to do is whenever the city, they have an emergency operations center, they allowed one of our officers to sit in that emergency operations center so we could get real-time information and make decisions here on campus. I can share with you that this job isn't easy. We make decisions based off information that we receive. And what I'm asking, and I know what we always ask, is for your grace in helping us make those decisions and supporting those decisions when that time comes. Because as we mentioned earlier, your safety is paramount to us. So I thought it was important to give some context about who we are, what our strategy is around policing, and then again, ask for some grace because things happen, whether it's things in the city or things on campus. Things happen in our environment. We have to make quick decisions on the information that we have. And I certainly want to ask you for your grace in supporting those decisions as we do those things. The last thing that I will say is, for those that have not been in the city, I think the temperature has been turned way down on what we've seen in terms of demonstrations in the city. We have not seen major demonstrations. We have not seen some of the things that I think took place before you left. That doesn't mean that will not change. And again, I ask you for your grace. But what we have seen is if any demonstrations have happened at all, they've been very small, and they have not impacted any egress or ingress into the city for anyone. So we are keeping our eyes on it as always. We're working with our partners to get the latest and greatest information so we can help make some decisions. But I can tell you that our strategy on campus will not change. Your safety is paramount. We will continue to do community policing, and we will continue to stay in constant contact with our partners to get as much information to help us make the best decisions here on campus as possible. So again, I can't wait to see you all when you come back, and we're certainly open to working with you all as we continue to make this the safest campus in the UNC system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, BC Goodson. Great insight. And I just want to reiterate what BC Goodson mentioned in regards to your patience and flexibility. Our students at ECSU have definitely demonstrated resilience. Our faculty and staff have definitely demonstrated their flexibility and adaptability to the situations that we have encountered. And I'm truly grateful to have such a strong team around me, as you can see, as they presented information today, as well as a faculty, staff, and students who truly understand the importance of the decisions that we have to make. And though not always easy, these are very tough decisions, but we have to go on based on the data and the information that is received at the time to make the best decision for our campus community under any situation. And so I'll just mention to our families and students, especially our new incoming students, welcome to ECSU. But just want to make sure that you all understand, even from the standpoint of hurricanes, we've had to evacuate our campus due to hurricanes. One thing that is beneficial in regards to a hurricane is that it's usually predictable, where we can watch the pattern as to or understand, with the weather reports where it is headed, and we can plan accordingly. But we have had to evacuate for hurricanes coming this way, 2 major hurricanes just in my tenure. So I ask parents, families, students, when we have to send students home to keep them safe, if a hurricane is coming this way, please work with us to do so. And I'll tell you, our student affairs team, with the leadership of Dr. Gary Brown, that you heard from, they will do nothing to harm or put your child in harm's way of trying to get home. We're going to do all we can to make sure that they get home. And we're going to need to work with parents, guardians, family members to help them get to a safe place if there's a hurricane. Another situation that we've experienced over the last couple of years that I've been at ECSU is the pandemic. And we're still in the pandemic, where we've had to pivot and send students home. Just another example. And then most recently, as BC Goodson mentioned, the unrest and the situation that had occurred in Elizabeth City, where a state of emergency was declared by our mayor that resulted in sending students home a week before we scheduled to dismiss for the spring semester. And that didn't just affect ECSU, it affected all the educational institutions within this area, from K-12 to College of the Albemarle to MACU, that's Mid-Atlantic Christian University, as well as Elizabeth City State University. So all students went home in this area under a state of emergency. So those are things out of our control, but what we do is take that information and make the best decisions to make sure that our students are safe and home and away from any harm. And so I wanted to reiterate that what BC Goodson said about, we need your patience, your understanding, your flexibility, your continued resilience to make sure that we are keeping you safe, and that you understand that this is our top priority, is the safety and well-being of our entire campus community. So let's turn to some questions. And remember, thank you to those who submitted questions prior to this town hall. And for those who have questions now based on the presentation of the information you heard tonight, please feel free to email your question to CAM, that's CAM, @ecsu.edu, and we'll be happy to answer your questions tonight as well. So the first question that I see is a question for Dr. Brown. Why has housing been moving people out of their assigned dorms without permission or even notifying students?
So thank you for the question. I don't know that I can speak explicitly to that question in particular, just based on not really having the details of it. I can tell you our general process is to communicate to students when we do have to make some alterations or changes. But I can also share with you that the way in which we are assigning housing is a little different from how some of you all have experienced housing assignments. If you have been here since pre kind of 2018 or so. And the reason for that is that we are trying our very best to develop a living learning community model within our institution, which ensures that students are placed within particular residence halls based upon their classification and based upon the type of organizations or entities that they may be attached to. So maybe if you're a champion scholar, or you're in Sister to Sister, or you're in a particular athletic program, or you're in an honors program, then we're trying our best to accommodate students to kind of place you with those particular students that may be also in that program, because there are some really great outcomes that come from students having a living experience in that way. If for some reason you were moved out of an assignment that was communicated to you prior, and there was a lack of communication with you, then I'll apologize to you for that. But just also recognize that the university is really trying its very best to do what it is that needs to be done to accommodate the number of students that we have, and that aligns with the institutional goals. As I communicated in my earlier comments, your official housing assignment will be communicated to you by July the 15th. If for some reason you don't have it by the 16th, feel free to reach out to housing. And if for some reason there are questions around the assignment, your assignment was communicated, it changed, and you need some clarification, feel free to reach out to housing, and we'll be sure to resolve that issue for you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. I'll move on to the next question. Will there be an opportunity to go on campus and in the buildings to see where classes are? I attended orientation, but it was online. This will be my first time attending class in person in the fall. Great question. Welcome to ECSU and to the Viking family. I will say ECSU is a public university. It is an open campus. So you can come to campus, walk around and look at the buildings and follow your schedule or whatever that you need to do. We are also conducting campus tours now, and I'll pass it over to the Provost to talk a little bit about that if that's something you're interested in. But great question, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall. So Provost, you want to add anything to what I just mentioned?
Absolutely. As the chancellor indicated, the campus is open. Any student may come to campus. The buildings are open. We are finalizing the signage around campus to indicate the mask required in the classrooms. That would be the only thing that's not up yet. That will be when you get here. But other than that, the classrooms are ready. We are conducting tours. So even if you're already admitted, which it sounds like you are, probably a transfer student, and we're wonderful and glad to have you, you still may go through admissions and get a campus tour. We're doing campus tours on Mondays and Fridays. And so if you just log in through Admissions Pros, you can schedule a tour, or you can contact the admissions office directly, and they will schedule a tour for you if you would like to go on a tour around campus. So welcome to the Viking family, and we are definitely open and welcome and cannot wait to receive you.
Thank you, Provost. Our next question, is it mandatory that we have the COVID-19 vaccine before returning to campus? As Dr. Brown indicated, we cannot mandate you to have the vaccine. What we can do is just strongly encourage. So we do strongly encourage you to take the vaccine in our efforts to minimize the spread of COVID-19 on our campus. And Dr. Brown talked about some of the things or various scenarios of whether or not you take the vaccine or if you don't take it and show symptoms and so on and so on. So I don't want to go, repeat everything he said in that regard, but it is still your personal responsibility to decide how you want to conduct yourself in regards to taking the vaccine or not. But do remember that if you choose to take the vaccine, then it gives you a little more flexibility in determining when you are wearing your mask outside of class, on campus and outside events. If you don't choose to take the vaccine, then of course you still wear your mask in class, but it's encouraged that you wear your mask even outside, especially if there are a lot of people around or you're in close proximity to people. So that way we can minimize any spread. So to answer your question, it is not mandatory, but it is strongly encouraged for the safety of our campus. Number 4, the next question, is as outdoor student events are coming back to normal capacity, there is a greater risk that the unvaccinated will also participate since they are still students. That said, will COVID screening still be in place at outdoor events? And if so, what should students present in order to prove they have been vaccinated and that their vaccination is valid? Dr. Brown, you want to take that one?
Sure. So we will be assessing each of our student programs when we have them on the campus. And so we will ensure that we take the necessary steps to provide as safe an environment as possible. That might include COVID pre-screening, or it might include saying that, we are encouraging everyone to wear a mask, in that regard. If there is a need for documentation, when you take a vaccine, every person receives an actual vaccination card, which is your kind of official record that you took the vaccine. And so if you have that card, keeping a copy of that card with you would be helpful. Providing that card to Student Health Services is most helpful because we can attach that to your actual student health record. And then we can kind of ensure and verify based upon that information. So.
Dr. Brown, I've also heard that it's recommended that you take a picture of your card on your cell phone as well, just in case, you don't have your purse or don't have your wallet, you always have your cell phone. So do you recommend students, in addition to having the paper copy that they received, that they also have a picture on their cell phones? Do you recommend that?
Absolutely. I think that's very helpful because it does ensure that you always have a copy with you, but also know that if you have a copy on your phone, in terms of the picture, you do need to have your actual ID to go along with that. Okay. Your student ID is very important. And we have very special new student IDs this year. They look really nice. So there's a little kind of jab there to make sure you get your new Viking One card.
Yes, that Viking One card is great, and we can add money to it and do other things with it. So thank you for your team doing that and putting that together. Our next question is, and this is for BC Goodson, will there be enough parking spaces at the Ville, or will we have to walk across Weeksville Road and park behind Griffin? If so, has there been any changes to the traffic flow on Weeksville so we can cross safely?
So let me tackle the first question. The parking at Viking Village, there's not enough parking spaces at Viking Village for every single resident. So there's always been overflow parking, if you will, in Griffin. Now, with respect to your question related to what changes have taken place, I can tell you that the city manager is actually an ECSU alum. One of the first things he did when we presented this concern to him was he increased lighting at the intersection. He also placed more security cameras out there. So he has done everything within his power to deal with, to make it as safe an intersection as possible. The chancellor has communicated to DOT to get the speed limit reduced, and they have done that over the years. It's certainly not reduced to I think, the speed limit that we would all want. But we've done everything that we could do to communicate to the Department of Transportation what the safety concerns were, and more importantly, what we would like to see at that intersection to make it safer. The one exciting thing I will share with you, the Chancellor has advocated for, and what's currently in the Senate's budget right now. Now, it's in the Senate's budget. That doesn't mean that it's secured yet. We still got to get the governor to sign off on the budget. That's a whole process. But what I can share with you is the Chancellor has advocated for, not only at the state level, but she's also done it at the federal level too. But at the state level, she's advocated for a sky bridge. And what this means is no longer will you have to cross a street, you will walk above traffic. And if you were to go and research the Senate budget now, you'll see $2.5 million in the budget for ECSU to construct the sky bridge at that intersection. Now, we're all praying here that that makes its way through the budget process. Again, no promises, but we are advocating at the state level, at the federal level. We're advocating in the city, and we're doing everything we can to make that as safe a crossing intersection as possible. And we were able to get a lot of traction with this $2.5 million sky bridge. Let's just hope that there's a budget pass and we're able to put that in place, because once that's in place, I think that provides the most safest way possible for you to cross that intersection above traffic and not have to worry about any motorists, coming through that intersection at a high rate of speed or in a reckless manner.
Yeah, VC Goodson, I have to say, I was just as thrilled as you are, and everyone is, when we saw that the Senate has a line item for the sky bridge. And as VC Goodson mentioned, this is something that we've been asking for since my tenure started here at ECSU, because we do understand how important it is to keep our students safe, and crossing Wheatsville Road is a very grave concern for us. And we've seen some tragic situations there. And we want to make sure that our students are safe in doing that. So the lighting, of course, helps. Thank you, City Manager, for the lighting. The reduced speed limit helps, but we can just get that sky bridge. I think we'll be good to go as far as making sure our students can go back and forth across that road. And that's something we definitely want to see happen. So we'll see what happens with the budget, but let's keep advocating and keep asking for this, and happy to see that the Senate supports it, and Senator Steinberg and others who have advocated for us to get this sky bridge here in Elizabeth City for Elizabeth City State. Greatly appreciated. The next question is for me, but I'm gonna also defer to the Provost to see her thoughts on it. But it says, will GR Little Library be open to the public this fall? I really miss that place. Well, we miss it too, from the standpoint of being back in the original space for the library. We had to move to a temporary space as renovations were taking place. And I have to be clear now, it was not major renovations. This was partial renovation to GR Little based on some money we had from the NC Connect bond. So, don't get too excited that you're going to see something, that you haven't seen before on this campus, but it is going to look nicer than it did before. And so we do want our campus community to use GR Little to feel comfortable in the space that we have. And we're still advocating for a new library on campus, and hopefully we'll be able to get that in the coming years. But until then, we were able to use that funding to make some of the necessary renovations in that space so that our students can enjoy it more in the community. And want to thank Dr. Spence for her leadership and her team in, going through the transition of moving the library space to a temporary space on campus, and now being back at GR Little. So Provost, you want to add anything to that question?
Absolutely. I echo that. And, we are excited. We were in a small kind of cramped place in Gilchrist for a year and a half, and the library staff, again, under direction of Dr. Spence has been tremendous. And so this summer they have moved back. And so we will open up GR Little Library for limited outside use. We do understand that as a public university that, we do have a mission to the community. And so we do want the community members to be able to access the materials in the library. And so we will have limited availability for outside individuals to come get some of the library materials. It will look different. It is spread out, and so it does promote social distancing much more than it did before we left that building. And so it's not what we want. We're still, as the chancellor said, are advocating for a new library, but we have done all we can to make it an inviting place. And I think that individuals will be quite proud when they see the new library. And so we welcome you and cannot wait to welcome the community back for the fall.
Great, thank you, Provost. We need more questions. Any other questions? We have a few more minutes, about 10 minutes or so. Email your questions to cam@ecsu.edu. While we're waiting for questions, VC McClinton, do you want to talk briefly about our new vendor on campus? Do you want to say something about that while we're waiting for questions to come in?
Oh, well, yes, we actually, I know some of the former students, we have partnered with Thompson Hospitality over the last 15 years. We are pleased to announce we actually chose a new vendor. We went through a couple of months of RFP process to select a new vendor. We selected Airmark. Airmark has actually got the ball rolling. They will actually start construction within the next week to the retail space. We will have two new things, which would be like a Tenders Loving Chicken. So it's like the Zaxby's, the Chick-fil-A, the chicken sandwiches, because we know that. And then we also have greens to go for the healthy, because that was one of the options that students wanted. They wanted salads, so it would be fresh made salads to go. One other thing that we have done in Bedell will kind of look different when you come back. Trust me, it's not what we want, because actually, as Alan said, in the Senate budget, they did put a new dining hall, because we have been asking for a new dining hall. So we hopefully will get a new dining hall the next couple of years. But in the meantime, you will see some new changes with Bedell. It will be a new floor, it will be new painting. And actually we will have a 24-hour C-store that will be open sometime in the fall. So it will be where you can just go and grab little to-go items. They have made it where it used to be where the takeout place was, but actually that will be a new pop-up C-store. It's just a temporary fix until we can get a new dining facility, because we do need a C-store on this campus. Why is a C-store important? It's just a store where you don't have to go off campus. We will provide your needs on campus. So we are looking forward to having Airmark. They kicked off with orientation students. So we're really excited about the new vendor.
And I just want to say thank you, VC McClinton, and our student body president, Jimmy Chambers, and the student committee that was a part of this process, went out and taste tested the food on other campuses and did everything necessary for us to come to this decision. And I'm excited about what Airmark will bring to our campus community. I want to turn it over to Vice Chancellor Goodson to talk some about some of the other renovations. We mentioned GR Little, but what are some of the other renovations and exciting things happening on campus from your portfolio, VC Goodson?
Thank you, Chancellor. So I think we already mentioned GR Little. Moore Hall is actually coming back online as well. That's one of our largest academic buildings. I think you'll be excited to see some of the renovations in that particular space. Many of those devoted to student success and a number of other priorities. So that is a building that we just renovated. We also just renovated, and VC Brown mentioned this Bias Hall, which is a historic residence hall that we have here. I guess you could say that's our newest, latest, and greatest, most advanced hall that we just stood up and will be open for business this semester. We know that the basketball courts were a hit with the students, as always, outdoor basketball courts. So we resurfaced them and put our branding on them. If you haven't seen them yet, they look amazing. They're on our social media page, so I encourage you to go there and take a look. We also renovated our track. I know students use our track early in the morning, but also in the afternoon. We now have a rubber track, so we don't have the asphalt anymore. So it certainly helps my knees because I'm getting up there, but the rubber track is very nice. And we renovated our football field as well over the break. I have a few other renovations I don't want to share with you yet because we're going to roll those out in a meaningful way, but we're excited to bring you back on campus. We've been doing our best over the downtime to get as much work done as possible in anticipation of your arrival. What I will ask, and I feel like I've been asking you for a lot of grace, but I'll ask you for just a little bit more. The chancellor's been able to secure funding for us to replace our HVAC systems all over campus and our roofs all over campus. Now, the good thing is that's going to make sure that the environment is as comfortable for you as possible. The challenging part is I'm really going to need your grace as they work around and get these things done. That may mean some parking spaces may have to be taken away to make sure construction goes smoothly. That also means that some adjustments on the HVAC systems will have to be made along the way. Again, once we get all those things up and running, the campus environment will be ready to rock and roll. But we'll be doing that work over the semester. We'll do our best to communicate out to you to let you know what any impacts will be. But this is an exciting time for ECSU. We're renovating and we're making this place better almost every single day. So thank you for your support and your grace again. And so excited for you to see the new look of campus and some of these new buildings when you come back.
Thank you, VC Goodson, and thank you and your team. It's been so wonderful to see the progress and the student focus and making sure our student experience is one that they all, can participate in and appreciate. And it's just a lot of excitement on campus. So thank you for that work as well. So we had a lot of questions come in while VC Goodson was talking. So I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. The first one, and this is for Dr. Brown, can you please clarify if students are vaccinated, do they need to get a COVID test 72 hours before move-in, or will providing proof of the vaccine suffice?
Proof of the vaccine will actually suffice. You do have to provide it to us, though, in order to be able to waive out of the testing requirement.
Thank you, VC Brown. The next question, how often will the residence halls be cleaned by the cleaning contractors or ECSU custodial staff?
So residence halls actually are cleaned daily. We actually have housekeepers that are in the residence halls throughout every day. When we talk about the biweekly cleaning, we're talking about restrooms in residential spaces, and those restrooms will be cleaned bi-weekly by cleaning contractors and ECSU custodial staff. What that means is, we all recognize that you have to clean bathrooms in order for your bathrooms to be comfortable and to be as safe and healthy for everyone. And so in the times between when our contractors or our staff come in to clean, students are responsible for cleaning their own spaces and maintaining those spaces in a healthy and safe way.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. You are on the roll because this next question is for you as well. Will students still be provided with masks, or will they need to provide their own?
So we have ordered some masks for the school year. We are still awaiting their arrival. And we recognize that there are quite a bit of things. When we order things in bulk, there's sometimes some delays that are in place. So there will be masks that will be provided. I can't guarantee that you will get them as soon as you arrive to campus. And so just as you are having to do where it is that you are now, you should have your own mask ready and available. And when those masks that we have ordered arrived, we will certainly communicate to you and get them to you as quickly as we possibly can.
Thank you. I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Dr. Brown, you usually get me with that. Chancellor, you're on mute. Next question. Will students be allowed to eat in the dining hall, or will meals have to be to go as we did this past academic year?
You want to do it, VC McClin?
Well, this year, Bedell will actually be open for sit down in the dining hall, but we actually do have temperature checks So you can be check your temperature before you enter into the dining facility. So once you are cleared to go through, you can actually sit down and the seating will look a lot different when you get there.
Thank you, VC McClinton. Our next question for sports, football in particular, what are the protocols in place to keep the players safe on campus and when they travel? It's going to be the same protocols for all students, no matter student athlete or full-time student or commuter student, everybody the same protocols. In regards to travel to games, that information will be communicated from our AD to the parents of student athletes, because what we have to consider is the protocols coming from the CIAA, our conference, as well as the NCAA. And so once we get their protocols, then we have to adhere to what that looks like for our student athletes when they travel. But we will compete this year. So CIAA, we will compete. We're excited. The Vikings will be playing this year in all sports, all 10 sports that we have. And so we're excited about that. And if you saw on the social media today, our men's basketball team is playing UNC Chapel Hill this year. And so that's going to be exciting. But our football season, we have the Down East Classic coming up for Labor Day weekend, and we're playing Fayetteville State. So come on, Vikings, come out and support our football team. Is going to be the first game of the year and the first game since the pandemic. So hotels are selling out. So go ahead and support us in Rocky Mount. It's going to be held in Rocky Mount. And we look forward to seeing all of our Viking fans cheering on our football team. Our next question is, will there still be a quarantine area for students and staff members who contract COVID-19? Brown, do you want to tackle that one?
Sure. We will continue to maintain quarantine and isolation spaces within residential life for students. We have not provided staff member quarantine or isolation spaces. Staff and faculty, if there is a need to quarantine or isolate, they actually quarantine and isolate off campus in their own residence. But we will maintain a number of spaces within residential life, within our residential facilities for quarantine or isolation purposes.
On mute again. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Our next question, Dr. Brown, is coming from a parent, and I'm going to ask the question and you answer, but if you also mention what we're doing to involve our parents this year with the parent group as well, I think that'll be helpful for our parents and family members to hear that also. But the question is, what will the guidelines be for visitors to our campus? And will parents need a special pass or have to provide a negative COVID test, et cetera? I guess for them to visit their student on our campus. What are your thoughts around that? And then what we're doing for parents' involvement?
Yep. Yes, ma'am. So certainly we recognize that parents will want to come visit their students, and we encourage them to do that. But we are, we have to maintain some level of standard within the residential facility related to kind of who we allow kind of into the space, just because we are still within the pandemic. But certainly if you come to visit the campus, you're welcome to come. We have the Vikings Engage app, which is a very robust software application that you can download to your phone. There are some pre-screening questions there that could be helpful to you, that you could answer, similar pre-screening questions to what you might have to answer if you were to kind of go anywhere else, like a doctor's office or those sort of things. But you are not prohibited from coming to campus at all. You certainly should come visit with your student, spend some time with them, take them off campus, see what Elizabeth City as a community has to offer. As it relates to the parent council that the chancellor mentioned, we are in the process of developing a parents council. We are leading that effort from the vice chancellor's office here. in student affairs in hopes that we'll be able to garner some additional parental support and have a mode of communicating more directly with parents related to the things that are happening on our campus. Just lessons learned from having to transition and pivot, as the chancellor has mentioned previously. We've done quite a bit of that in recent times. And one of the things we know that has helped us most is when we have very close contact and communication with parents so that everyone is clear about what's happening on our campus. And so please be on the lookout for additional information about that. If you have questions or you want to volunteer to be a part of that very special group of parents who are helping to mobilize and support the institution, feel free to reach out to us directly in the Vice Chancellor's office at 252-335-3276, or you can send an email directly to studentaffairs@ecsu.edu.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Our next question I'm going to combine, and I think VC Goodson, you'll be able to tackle this, and anybody else who wants to jump in. But is there going to be an online tour of Bias Hall since the renovations? And maybe that's more of you, VC Brown. And is there still going to be a mold issue in suites? Now, first of all, I'll say we never want to see a mold issue. But if it does come up, definitely tell your RA, building coordinator, tell anybody you can find so that we can get it addressed. And our facilities folks are definitely ready to respond and do all we can to, resolve the issue if you see anything. And so it goes back to see something, say something, because we don't know what we don't know, but I do know that we have a very responsive and strong facility staff who is willing to help in any way that they can. But I'll turn that to VC Goodson and VC Brown. Y'all can kind of figure out who wants to answer which one of those.
Do you want me to take the tour, or did you want to take that, VC Brown? I can
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so what we were, I mentioned to you that there are a lot of exciting things in our portfolio that we wanted to roll out to you. One of those exciting things was the interior of the building with furniture and all those good things. So they're currently in the building putting together furniture. We're going to roll it out. We're going to sort of do a ribbon cutting or grand opening. So at that point, then we'll be able to share what the inside of the building looks like with all its bells and whistles, fully furnished and all that good stuff. With respect to the mildew mold issue, I think the chancellor, hit the nail on the head. Please work with your RAs and your building coordinators to let us know if you see those issues. What I do know is that in every space we've added a dehumidifier to help keep the moisture down. I know that has been very helpful in terms of being able to manage the moisture in the building. But again, if you have any issues like that or anything pops up, please let us know, and we'll make whatever adjustment is necessary to ensure that you're in a comfortable space as possible.
And just as one additional point on the Bias Hall, there are some static pictures that are already online of Bias Hall and kind of what the rooms look like, because we knew that there were a number of students kind of asking, what does the space look like? And they were being assigned there because they're part of our living learning community. So feel free to go to the housing webpage and you'll be able to see some pictures there. It won't be tourist, right? It won't be like a 360 tour like what VC Goodson has described. That will come, at a later date with the official rollout. But there are some pictures there for you to be able to take a look.
Thank you both for your responses. This one is yours, Dr. Brown, and I'm going to combine the two so you can address both. But one is, with the only 2 guests for move-in day, does that mean only 2 people can come with me on campus, or can my family come, or only 2 people help me move stuff in? I have step parents for both sides of my family, so deciding who is coming is a hard decision.
Yeah, that's a tough circumstance. I completely understand that. And I think it's a huge moment for students to be admitted to the university. And it's a day that a lot of people want to celebrate. So when we talk about 2 guests for move-in day, we're talking about 2 guests to assist you to move into the actual residence hall. The point is we're trying to limit the number of people who actually are in the residence hall so that it cuts down on congestion and any kind of potential risk that might be involved in terms of the pandemic that we're in. And certainly, if there are other family members who want to come with you, they can certainly do that, right? Recognizing that you have a very finite time that has been assigned to you to move in and out of the residence hall. So they're welcome to come, but we're going to limit you to 2 people from your family or friends or 2 guests who can actually help to move you into the actual residence hall. All others would have to kind of remain outside so that we could just kind of minimize the level of congestion. So.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Brown. Our next question is, can you talk about the care package?
So there are care packages that I think are offered. If I remember correctly, there was an email communication that came out a few days ago, a care package that that is either offered by either our campus bookstore or Airmark, our new food service vendor. And so if you follow the directions that were in that particular email, then you'll be able to kind of place an order for your student to send them a care package periodically through the year, through the semester. If there are additional questions about the care package, because I'm not exactly sure what additional information I would need to provide to you, but I'm more than welcome your question. Feel free to email me directly or to give me a call, and we'll certainly provide you the additional information that you might need about care packages.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Brown. Provost, I'm going to toss this one to you, see if you can provide some insight. But it says, as far as the sound of class, read that wrong. As far as the sound of class, I can't get that wrong because we love our band. The sound of class, what provisions are being provided regarding practicing and performing as an entire band this year? Also, are band members required to be tested weekly as before?
Yes, so the provisions will be, we prefer that the sound of class will do the majority of their practicing outside. There will be some inside practicing in small groups that will come, but we do plan for the sound of class to perform at the athletic events. The testing protocol will be still going on through the Student Affairs Office. I think VC Brown probably can talk a little bit more to the protocol in that place, but we do realize how integral the band and as well as sports are into students' collegiate careers. And so that's why we are making all the provisions we can to ensure that that experience does return for the fall semester as safely as possible. So again, the majority of the practices will be conducted outside for the fall semester for the sound of class. There will be some inside practices in small groups. Dr. Brown, can you discuss the testing protocol, please?
Sure. We'll maintain the similar schedule related to testing for the sound of class this semester. But this is another place where getting the vaccine will certainly assist, because if you have the vaccine, you can waive out of surveillance testing requirements. So if you are part of the sound of class, we're requiring sound of class to be tested on a weekly basis. But if you have been vaccinated and we have proof of that, that means you get to waive out of any sort of surveillance testing. Which I think provides you probably a better experience and kind of makes it less that you have to be concerned about in terms of just kind of fitting that into the schedule and the cutting back on class time and the like. And so we are encouraging you to take the vaccine, because that will help us in terms of mitigating some of the things that we have put in place to ensure the safety of our entire campus community.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And that was our last question. And so hopefully we've been able to answer your questions. I want to thank you for your participation in tonight's virtual town hall. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. And thank you to my presenters, my cabinet. Greatly appreciate all of you in providing critical updates and information. So thank you so much, Provost, Dr. Brown, VC Goodson, and VC McClinton. Thank you so much. I understand some students could not attend this evening's town hall, so communications and marketing will share a link to the recording in the morning. So tomorrow morning, if you know one of your peers, friends, parents, families missed tonight's virtual town hall, you will receive an opportunity via social media to see this town hall replayed via link. As guidelines and protocols are ever changing, it is important that we all stay on the same page. And with that in mind, continue to monitor Viking Compass. So the Viking Compass website is still up and going. It's still live, just as we did last year. Dr. Brown and his team will be reporting number of COVID cases and other information that is happening on our campus, as well as any other guidelines or directives coming from the CDC. And so all that information is there. So parents, families, students, if there are any questions about what's happening on our campus in regards to COVID-19, you can go to the Viking Compass website and you can pull all of that information. We're very transparent about it, and we want you to see it so that you know what's happening. We will use this website to continue to update you, inform our community as well. So our community will be looking at this, and this will just help us to navigate any changes that may come up in the fall semester and keep you all informed. We will also continue to use our social media channels. If you're not following me, follow the university, follow Dr. Brown, follow the Provost, follow everybody you can. Even VC McClinton is up there posting on social media. So follow us. We're always putting information out there. So social media is the key, as well as and look at your email. Emails will be going out, letting you know what's happening on campus as well. So we want to make sure that we are updating our campus community as much as we can and as often as we can, because as I mentioned from the start, and you've heard over and over, our campus safety, wellness, security is our top priority. And we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in keeping you informed. So let's remain safe and well as we live, work, and learn together. I look forward to seeing our new students this fall on our campus, and I especially look forward to seeing our returning students. Thank you so much for all of you choosing ECSU and being a part of the Viking family. And to our parents, our family members, I look forward to meeting you all, and your support and advocacy for ECSU, for your student, for our entire campus community is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much, and please continue to do so. So to everyone, good night. Thank you for joining us, and Viking Pride, Viking Pride, Viking Pride. Thank you so much.